It's Driving the Culture Forward. This is HYPEBEAST Radio. I'm Ben Rosen.
I'm Joe Stinney.
We're here today with rapper, possible mayoral candidate, New York native, Patrick Wiki Morales. How you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm good, man. Just chilling.
Yeah, thank you for finding some time to come in today, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate that.
So, actually, do you want me to refer to you as Pat, Wiki? Do you have, a preferred?
You call me Wiki. I don't care.
All right,
Pat,
so
I don't give a shit.
You're coming off No Mountains in Manhattan.
Wick. You can call me Wick.
Wick, for short?
Yeah.
CEO of Wickset Enterprises,
Yeah.
LLC. But yeah, no, we wanted to catch up with you, man, because you're coming off No Mountains in Manhattan. You're coming off the release of your first solo album. We wanted to kind of catch up, get a little bit of the story behind that, a little bit more about your origin story, a little bit more about where you're from. So what can you tell us about the process that went into this album versus previous releases, like the mixtapes and the RATKING days?
Yeah, this album was just kind of a little bit more cohesive, you know. It was not on purpose though, you know what I'm saying? Lil Me, the mix, that was kind of like a mixtape. I consider it more a project than a mixtape, really, because I put that, I don't know, you know what I mean? It's confusing because I came up in an era where it's not an era, but when I came up, mixtape was you're rapping on everyone else's beats and shit. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Now it's a mixtape isn't that. It's a mixtape is you know, everyone puts out mixtapes and then they put out the album. But you know what I mean?
Right.
That era. So I'm always wait, to call it a mixtape, I'm it's it's more of a project, you know,
yeah.
But it's not an album. I don't know. It's weird now these days. These days people call EPs there's 10 tracks on the EP. You're what the fuck?
Nah, bro,
that ain't
an
an EP, bro. Nah, but for this one it was more the other Lil Me was more I just had all these songs and I was kind of throwing it all together and I was I want people to know me as a solo artist has the capability to do all different types of shit. But then No Mountains is more I want to tell this story and I want it to be a arc, you know what I mean, and front to back. So it's more focused and kind of specific what I wanted and you know what I mean. You can even tell I don't have all the features I necessarily would have wanted on there, but it's because it's all New York MCs. It's supposed to kind of take place in New York, you know what I mean. So it's I don't have Antoine or some UK artist on it that I might have would have. If it was just yo, I want to do everything, you know what I mean? But I kind of had to hone it down and do this one for this project, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I mean, speaking on the New York element, you grew up here, you're from the Upper West Side, right?
Yeah.
So we kind of wanted to get a little bit more about when your origins came from, because I think you kind of came up with the No Wave guys, a lot of those downtown A-Ron and
well,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
Back then it was anything.
That was, yeah, right. So it was part of still a streetwear thing back then. But
yeah,
then
kind of, yeah.
It morphed shape. So what was that like? What were those formative years like? What was your relationship with A-Ron like?
Yeah, with A, it was just more when I was young, I looked up to all that shit. I was uptown, but then you know downtown, it's oh, it's mad cool downtown and shit. So you go downtown when you're young and shit. And then there was just you know, certain friends put me on to certain things, and then I just thought it was cool, the whole community they had down there where it was there was artists. And it wasn't it seemed deeper than some streetwear shit. Because it's when you're young, I was in the streetwear and shit, I was had a bait. I was oh, I need bait and this shit when I was in middle school, you know? Mm-hmm. But then I was then that shit was different. It was oh, this shit is more like a community. It's there's artists. It's more deep. It's not just oh, we came up with a name and we put it on a t-shirt. It's oh, there's artists involved, there's musicians involved, there's all this culture behind it. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like a community, you know? So I was always damn, I want to get down with that. So then when I was young, when I was 13 or some shit, I went down to this was actually post anything. Well, not post anything, there was anything, and then Aaron started Off Bowery, which was another brand because he got into some business troubles with whatever the other owner or anything, whatever. The more business side versus the creative side, you know. So he started his own shit, and then he had this thing called the Rec Center, which was on Spring and Sullivan, which was just a big ass. It was called the Rec Center, but WRECK,
gotcha.
The Rec Center. So it's the Rec Center, the flip, you know.
Yeah.
So, but it was just chaos in there, just you know, everyone was skating, graffiti everywhere. It was just so I just went in there and I was yo, I rap. Me and my boy went in. I was I rap, and then I just rapped for him, and he filmed it, and then he hit me up and he was yo, your Wiki and your mans is goobs, and then y'all are gonna rap about the internet or whatever. And I was what the fuck? But that name just kind of stuck. And then it was Lil Wiki first. He was so he named me Lil Wiki. He named me that shit. So then from there it just kind of became a nickname, and then like throughout the years we would always kind of check in on each other. Like he would put me on shows when I was in high school and shit, like get me into the club and like just rap on like instrumentals on like, you know what I mean? Like on like fucking just old 90s instrumentals, like just like rap my ass off and people was like, yo, who's this look? Cause I look mad lit, like now I got a beard, like then like when I was like 15, I looked like I was like 13, you know what I mean? I was one of those like Lil looking motherfuckers, so it's like even crazier. People were like, yo, this kid got like his backpack on in the fucking club, like what the fuck's going on here, you know what I mean? Like,
I remember when we were doing the research, we found like an interview with you where you were like 18 years old on a rooftop somewhere on the Upper West Side, like smoking a clip.
No,
like,
that was downtown though. That was downtown.
Okay.
But I know what you took. It's like with my boy Arvid, we were like, we're gonna do an interview.
Dude, most of the footage is literally of you between like your chin and
when I'm like
your
shitting
hoodie.
on like my teacher, I'm like, yo, they trying to tell me I was late too many times.
Yeah.
I was like, motherfucker. That shit was stupid, but I remember that interview, yeah.
But you did kind of like speak on like a lot of the New York scene stuff that you're talking about now.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so it's like, what was and like you were saying, No Mountains is kind of like, it does have this New York concept to it. Like your ad lib throughout is just you just saying like, you're like, and that's clearly on purpose, but like, did you record it all in New York? What was the process behind it?
I recorded everything in New York for that, like literally down the block, like XL got a new studio and shit, so I recorded it all in New York pretty much, yeah. I mean, yeah, I think like everything.
Nice. And what was like, I mean, what were some of the stories? Like, were you living downtown? What were you doing?
Yeah, I was in Chinatown at the time. Like, I was living there for like 2 years or so with my friend Adam Zoo, and like Sport was living there too for a minute. So it was like, a lot of people were going through there. It was like kind of like the spot where everyone came through and hung out. So it was like a good vibe to be like, you know what I mean? Just like everyone's around, like, you know what I mean, all the time. But for this one, it's like that like, it's all New York, everything, because it's like I'm from the, you know what I mean? So it's like, this one is more like my story kind of later, not really like my young tales. Like that's more like earlier, you know?
Yeah. I think it's funny.
No Mountains is more like me growing up, trying to like, you know, like you go through love for the first time, you try to like getting over that, your first love and shit, and like moving on and things like that, and like just trying to become less of like a cocky young piece of shit, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of like what the like Pretty Bull sounds like. Like that's you literally like kind of coming out like that, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think like, this album is more like, I mean, wait, what's the question about that? I don't know.
No, I was just asking about like the downtown influence of it. Like,
I mean, definitely like downtown's influenced by it. A lot of it's influenced by it. I mean, it's like Manhattan. It's like based in Manhattan, so it's kind of like Chinatown, you know what I mean? But then you look up, like I'm from uptown, so it's like looking back up, you know what I mean, kind of thing. Like, but the mountains is more like the obstacles to me. Like it's like all the shit that I've been through the past. But it's like getting over it, you know what I mean? So it's like.
What were some of the biggest mountains kind of in the process of making it?
Probably like clearing samples and shit. That was like the biggest pain in the ass.
It's always the business stuff.
That's just fucked up. But like, luckily, like some of them we like redid last minute, and like we had to not only redo, cause it's like, you gotta realize with sampling, there's two sides to it. There's like the publishing side, and then there's the like, just straight up you took, like it's on there. Yeah. But you could still redo it, and the publishing side could still be like, nah, that's it. That's like, that still sounds too similar. Like, you know what I mean? So it's not just like, oh, you can redo anything. You know what I mean? Like, so we had to not only redo it, but like do it our own way, and kind of like bring in a bunch of our homies for certain things. But it actually, some of them, it made it like a lot better. Like, cause I was like, damn, now it has this whole musical element. Like, Baby Girl was one like last minute we had to, and it was like, it was so many stress, because it was like, one, Kaytranada made the beat, so I'm like, all right, we're redoing Kaytranada's beat basically, because like we were redoing the sample, you know what I mean? We're like, that's already a sketchy thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, heresy, right?
But it was last minute. It was literally like the week before we were supposed to hand in the shit. So not hand it in, like it was already handed in. Like the week before, supposed to hand it in to Spotify to like, so they can like put it up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm like stressing, and it's like, we just got like Tony, his brother, like Tony Seltzer, his brother Carlos, like Epton, Isaiah, we all just got together and like made it work, and it shit sounds, Baby Girl, like it sounds so much more musical, and like before we didn't even have the stems, so it was just the beat and me rapping over it. And now we could like do drops and everything. And then we sent it to Kaytranada, and he was like, yo, this shit's better than the original. Like, this shit fire. So like, once we got that blessing, it was like, all right, this is lit. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where it's like, I was so stressed about it, but it actually made it better. You know what I mean? It's like the things that are the kind of obstacle become like a blessing in disguise type of thing. And that's kind of even like, if you're talking about like the track Pandora's, it's like Pandora's Box, it's like that was about, it's like a negative thing, but then it turns into, it's like I learned from you know what I'm saying? It's like I came out like stronger or like a bigger person or a better person because of this, you know, even though it was like tough, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that type of shit.
You made a lot of tracks about that kind of like juxtaposition, because like you did Icarus, you did kind of like from like
Icarus is my favorite song.
Yeah, like your favorite like solo.
Yeah, that's my favorite song I ever made, honestly.
Do you have a favorite song you perform, or is it all just kind of like
maybe Icarus too? Because I like to play that shit last, because it's not on the album, so I want everyone to know like, nah, this shit is the one. You know what I'm saying? So I like to come out and just be like end on something nice, like God Bless Me or some shit, or like Nutcrackers, and it's like, hey, and then come back and be like, nah, it's still real, you know what I mean? Like, this shit is still fucked up, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I like that track.
Speaking of God Bless Me, we actually wanted to ask a little bit more about the UK thing, because like you are a quintessential New York dude, but you've also kind of found like a home and like a lot of people that really fuck with you on the other side of the Atlantic.
Yeah. That's
how did that kind of come back? Was that you traveled over there and kind of?
Yeah, I mean, like I always say like the number one reason why I'm happy I signed to XL. Like, not like that sounds fucked up to say. I mean, like I like working with XL and shit. It's a good label, but the fact that I was like early on, I was RATKING. We went to the UK and we met all these kids that were like our age and doing similar shit in their own way, and it was like just kind of this parallel, because it's like New York and London, it's very similar cities. It's like very mixed. You walk down the street and but it's like different. It's like the Turkish to the Puerto Ricans, or like the Jamaican. You know what I mean? Obviously New York got Jamaicans, but on that's like Puerto Rican over here. You know what I mean? Like there's slang. Like every white boy says Jamaican slang over there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's more. It's like so just to see that, it's like the same thing. And the kids are like, it's not like LA. It's like everyone takes the train, everyone takes the bus, everyone's walking around. So it's like. It's more like this, I don't know, like they're with it, you know what I mean? There's a certain like understanding, it's like that like I connected with early on, so like I was just happy about that. And it's like a lot of ways they're actually like, they have better taste and shit, in a lot of ways. Like
what kind of ways?
Like they don't fuck around with music, like they don't let no bullshit slide. Like
people there actually
say it's
DJ.
Good, like if they rate it, like their shit you'll think that's dope, and they'll be like, nah, like that's not dope. You know what I mean? Like they just have like a certain like.
Even their slang is like that though. Like it'll be like, nah, I don't rate that, or it's like that's dead, and it's like that's literally we're not talking about that anymore, bro.
They be going hard, bro.
I think a lot of kids like.
It's like French people with. Like fashion is like British people with music, like
and sneakers.
Like they I guess with sneakers too. I don't even know about sneakers. No, but I see because my man's like thinking about Mac, like he be on the shits. He on the shits. All right, but yeah, you know. So, but like going over there early, I met like King Crew. I met like all his homies, Subluna City, Jesse James, like Black Mac, like all these people. I was like, oh shit, and just like. Ever since then, like, and then you gotta realize, like, that Mac came over and like stayed at my house for like 2 weeks, just like when I was still like just living at my mom's. So like, you know what I mean? This is like 5 years ago, so like this shit runs deep. Like it's like, you know what I mean? And then like, Skepta, I met Skepta through like No Wave. Like I was like rapping in Manhattan, in downtown at their old spot in Greenwich Village, and it was like. Skepta came through, and I didn't really, like at the time, I didn't even really know who Skepta was, like, because I knew, like, I was like up on grind, but not like as deep, and then like, I'm like, oh shit, and he's like, yo, we just like, were showing each other love and rapping with each other, and then it was like, then I went back to the UK, and all my homies were like, yo, Skepta, like, we grew up on Skepta, like, bro, like, you don't realize, like, I have like Skepta's oldest mix, you know what I mean, Like, cause like Skepta's OG, like he been doing this shit. So it's like my kids my age grew up on Skepta. If you're like in the grime, you know that shit. It's like that was like Wiley's youngin', you know what I mean? Like coming up.
Like
you know
Rinse FM freestyle, like his entire thing before a lot of people, I think.
When he's like 18 and shit.
Man, remember he had like a whole Ed Hardy phase?
Well, that shit was later, but I'm talking about like early on. Like, so they're like, yo. But I know he's talking about.
Yeah, like the gone in, like when he was literally freestyling on the radio and giving his cell phone number out was like when British kids, I think, were like, this guy is the truth. He's leading this entire thing. Yeah,
so, and there was like all those ill like battles. There's like the Gets, like, you know, Ghetto, he's another grime MC. And Skepta, and it's like, Gets was like, he was all about like quantity, like he would just rap, but then like Skepta's like, it's quality over quantity, man. And he's like just barring up like subtle, but just killing it, you know what I mean? And like tight, and like Gets is getting too wild, he's like losing his breath, you know what I mean? So just like ill shit, you're like, you see that, you're like, damn, this is like some old New York shit, like some old New York battle, like it's just as real and raw, and like, so it's like, you know, there's a certain connection.
It's really like more competitive, like grime, I think.
Well, cause it's like that shit started later, so it's like you would have like, you'll see like videos of fools and they're rapping on the radio and they get jumped like in the radio, you know what I mean? And that's like in the 2000s, so it's like that's some shit that was happening in like the 90s and hip hop, you know what I mean? But it's like later, it's like, you know what I mean? Like the genesis of it or whatever. Like the same way, it's like what it came out of like jungle and drum and bass and these things that like turned into grime, you know what I mean? So it's like, and then garage.
Yeah,
I can't
garage.
Say it. I'm American. I can't say it.
You can never say that word.
That's how British that genre is. Like you can only say it if you're Brit. Like you can't even say, like, I can't call it garage.
Yeah, no, that's like heresy.
That's like garage.
They don't fuck with that at
all.
Shit. No, they don't let you say
but
that.
Then it's like you gotta say a weird British accent and be like garage. But yeah, that shit's tight though, you know.
So coming back to New York for a minute, and you remixed that track with Skepta. You were the American rapper that was like, nah, man, you have to do That's Not Me. So is that like, and that video is crazy too. So like, what's a little bit of the story with that?
I was happy he did that. Like that was, like Skepta's a real ass dude. Like he can do whatever the fuck like not whatever. I'm not saying he can do whatever. It's like he has so many, you know, he has clout. You know what I'm saying? But he doesn't always have to fucking
show love.
Yeah. He doesn't always have to like just go to that like. That was dope. Like he could have gotten a lot of people in there, but he was like, I'm gonna get Wiki, and it's like that shit probably didn't get as much shine as it would have got if it was someone else, and it was like a low key thing, but fuck it, and it was cool, and it was like just me and like a bunch of my homies and like little skater homies and shit, and everyone was like, who are these fucking? I remember the comments. They're like, yo, who are these fucking little like raggedy ass fucking kids? Like, why are they fucking? You know what I mean? But that shit was tight though. I enjoyed that. Like. That shit was, I'm happy like I got to do that, you know. But I don't think another American MC could have really hit it though, right? You know what I'm saying? To be honest. I mean, definitely there's some would, but like if he just picked any other fool. But nah, that shit was mad fun to make though and shit.
I think the similarity was just like when you watch the video for the original track, like where it's literally like just him rapping into the headphones and shit. Yeah. Like that kind of looks like almost something like a Rat King video, or like, yo, we were going to make this in my garage.
You gotta check out the what's that shit called? Yo, what's that shit called? The Berry, the fools in the UK, we were about to do it, but then it didn't happen. Nah, yeah, but what's the thing? Just Jam. There's an ill Just Jam. Back in the day with Rat King and Skepta, and it's just like Hawk went somewhere else, but it was just like me, Skepta, and Sport like playing beats, and the shit is just like us blowing out. This shit's crazy.
Wow.
Fire.
Yeah.
Check that shit. Yeah.
Word.
Yeah, so I mean, going back to like, you know, the competitive nature over there in London, just with like grime and stuff, like how are like live performances for you over there? Like, yeah, in juxtaposition to like here in New York.
I'm like, it's between those two. Those are the best live shows, like London and New York. I'm saying like New York, like New York's always the best because it's New York and it's home, but London brings it, bro. Like y'all New York motherfuckers, you gotta get your shit together because London, like that shit's fucked up because I'm from New York. I should have the best show in New York, right? But London is the shit that's like, it sells out.
They have energy.
They know the fucking words, bro. They're hype. But it's something that, to me, it's something that's like, it's a little less close to home. Like there's a little like, yo, this is that like I'm their little New York guy that they're like, oh, we fuck with Wiki and RATKING and shit. So it's like there's more of this. The separation makes sense in a way. Like whereas when I'm back in New York, they're like, all right, it's Wiki. We all know you, motherfucker. They're like just hyped to see it, and it's you know what I mean. So I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. It's just like how if a UK artist comes over to New York, it's gonna be because they're like, oh shit, like you know what I mean. There's more hype behind it because it's like there's a little bit of a distance.
Yeah, I think in New York you're kind of like almost like you're almost like a regular, like where
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like people in New York, they're not like when they see me, they're not like, oh shit. They're like, yo, what up? Like they're just like regular. I was in the airport. Yeah. I was in the airport and like some kid working at like LaGuardia. He's just like, yo, what up, Wick? How you doing? I'm like, yo, what's good? Like, you know what I mean? Nothing. It's like nothing. Like, yo, like it's just like regular shit. And I never met that fool before, but he knew it was just cool. You know, whatever.
I mean, I've literally bumped into you at like a friend's house party on the Lower East Side at one point, but like 3 years ago. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
And then like the second time is literally outside of Papaya King on St. Mark's. Like you were never not doing New York shit.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Damn, that's hard. I need to get it. I need to get a dog. I haven't got a dog in a minute. I've been eating the schnitzel out in Germany. You know? I need to get back to the regular.
Get back to New York shit. You sold out, bro. You ate
Nah,
schnitzel.
bro, that's what I was saying. Like, I told Germany when I played with them, I was like, yo, y'all brought the deli to, because the Germans, the delicatessen comes from Germany.
Yeah.
So I was like, y'all brought the deli to New York. Yo, I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Because there's like, that was an early wave of immigrants was the Germans. Then they all kind of moved out, but not all of them, but like, you know, but what they left is still there and shit. So I was like, yo, the delicatessen. It was actually perfect because I was like, yo, y'all brought the deli. I didn't even realize what song was coming next. I was like, thank y'all for bringing the deli to New York, man. Like the delicatessen, like y'all, like you know what I mean. And then the mayor dropped, and I was like, and then they were like, oh, like, cause it was like it was like connecting it to them. Yeah. I was like, yo, perfect. You know what I mean? It just worked out like that. I didn't remember what song was next, but it was like it worked perfectly because it was a little like ode to them, and it was like. You know what I mean? Like I could be your mayor or some shit too. It was a perfect moment. Though.
Yo, speaking of
Germany
mayor,
was sick.
Yeah?
Germany was sick. Yeah.
Yo, speaking of mayor though, one of the coolest things that I think about the way that you've been doing this in New York, and it kind of makes sense given that you live in Chinatown, is that yo, you've got stickers and posters all around below 14th Street, like literally all over downtown. Yeah. Like you look like you're running for mayor. You know what I mean? You could run for mayor at this point. Yeah. And yo, if anybody could fix the subways, it would probably be Wick, right?
Damn.
But like, what's the hardest part about doing that? Because it seems like it's pretty grassroots. Like it's like, is that just you and Matt and like the homies, or
for the stickers? It was mostly just like handing them out to the right homies. You know what I'm saying? And just being like, yo, go ham. You know what I mean? So that's more just like that, and just like kids putting them up. It's cool to see them up. It's like, you know, like you get the big pack of stickers and everyone wants to put them up and shit. Mm-hmm. With the other shit, with the flag, that was like the label did that shit. I think, but like that shit was tight. I'm trying to like get it more lit though. I want I think like once the vinyl comes out, they're gonna like put the cover up and we're gonna get like a billboard. I'm trying to like turn up. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to like get my shit like. But then I see people ripping down shit sometimes, but I feel like I take it personal. I'm like, no, people just do that or some shit.
People take them to put them on their walls at home.
Stress.
Yeah, I mean,
sure. Yeah,
that's what people did with all the Supreme shits. Like,
just frame it.
Yeah, or sell them.
Or sell them.
You check to see if they're selling them. You see they're reselling your shit.
I don't think they're selling them.
Yo, I have a nerd question, but I think you might actually have an answer for me. You're a big Kurt Vonnegut fan, right?
Yeah.
So what's the connection on that? Because the flag does have the asshole from Breakfast of Champions.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from? Is that just like a high school thing, or?
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, like basically, like I read Slaughterhouse-Five first. That's like my favorite book ever, like Slaughterhouse-Five.
Same.
Like, so like for real, that's hard. Cause like I read that in high school, and it's like, you know, it's like I don't not like to read. I'm just a picky ass reader, like. Cause I get bored, like I'm still like of this generation. I'm bored as fuck. But certain shit, like in school, I remember I'd be like, I'm not gonna do this. But then that book I just kept reading, you know what I mean? Like when we had to read it, I was just like, oh, I read it. And I was like, this shit's fire. Cause it's weird as fuck, but it's like relevant, but it's weird. It's like, that's crazy. It's like how you gonna make a sci-fi book, an anti-war sci-fi book?
Yeah, but like all
like
the space time.
And then you see the beginning, and it's like, and then the whole levels to it. It's like, and it's like the whole sci-fi thing is so sick to me because it's not like this like aliens coming with guns. It's like this real, like this is what aliens would be like. It's like they look like what they look like
hands with an eye.
I thought it was like they were like coat hangers.
Yeah, they were shaped like coat.
Yeah,
hangers,
they're like it's like you know, people always picture aliens as like human kind of, but then weird. It's like nah. If there was an alien, it wouldn't look anything like what you could imagine. You know what I'm saying? Like just I don't know, whatever the fuck. But and meanwhile preaching against war in a very subtle, low key way, not like no war's bad, just like letting you know kind of in this ill way.
Yeah. So
to me, that shit just like drew to me. And then like because of that, I read a lot of other Vonnegut, and then Breakfast with Champions is also a dope one. And it's like, I love how he has that's inspiring to me, how he has all the drawings in it. Like if I ever write a book, I'm gonna have like ill drawings all throughout it, like I drew, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then he got the asshole, and like it's just like an asterisk, but it's like an asshole, because it's like, you know, like that's what an asshole would look like, you know?
Yeah.
If you were to spread your cheeks low key. You know what I'm saying? So it's like...
Let's paint a picture for the listeners at home.
Yeah. But like, so I just took the asshole and put it on the wiki flag, because I was like, I need something else to like make it my own. It's like, it's Puerto Rican Irish, but then there's something else. It's like this energy, this like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like some like...
It's a good logo for you, you know
exactly.
what I mean? Like it's got everything in one place.
And I like it because people just think it's the asterisk, but then I know it's like it's the asshole. You know?
Yeah, and it's also goes back to like the Rat King album is called So It Goes, which is another reference. So it's like it's got layers to it.
There was gonna be a few names for that shit.
What were the other ones?
It was like Hawk wanted to call it Eat, just Eat. Mm-hmm. Then Sport, originally we were gonna call it 700 Phil, and that became the second one, but because we were like, that's dope, but then it wasn't a winner album, so we were like, nah, we can't. And then I'm happy because 700 Phil really was like, that. It made sense for that album. And then I was like, So It Goes, and then we were working with Young Guru at the time. He was mixing the album, So It Goes. He mixed that. So we were like in the studio, and then he was like, Eat, like they were like, Eat, and then he was like 700 Phil, and then I was like, So It Goes. He was like, So It Goes. He's like, that's the one, like, you know what I mean? Because he just knew, he's like, he didn't ask us to explain it. Because it's like, you can explain it and then it might be like, oh yeah, that's cool, but it's like, the person is getting it, they're not gonna get it explained to them. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna get it. So they were like, he was like, So It Goes. Like, that's fire, So It Goes. You know what I mean? It was like perfect. And he just like recorded the whole album, so he knew. He was like, this shit's fire. Like,
damn. And internet nerd has to ask a question about internet nerd group that you're in though. What's the status on Secret Circle? How did that happen, first of all? And second of all, are you guys still making music?
Yeah, Secret Circle, like Antoine, I've known Antoine forever. That's like one of my best friends in the whole game. Like probably my best friend, other rapper that's like I can consider my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, you know, I got Remy, I got a bunch of bros
industry
out
friends.
Here, but like, nah, but it's not industry friends. That's the thing. It's not. Like that's the thing. It's not industry friends.
Gotcha.
It's not. I met Antoine at a show. You know what I'm saying? In Austin, and we were playing with what's it called? Underachievers, and then like we played, then Underachievers played, and then Antoine played, and Antoine saw me, and I was whining in the set, and he was like, "Damn, this shit's crazy." And then in his set, he was like, "Yo." He was like, that's that real New he's like, Rat King, that's that real New York shit. And he wasn't saying nothing to Underachievers, but it was still like, I was like, wait, but they came after us, and then we met after, and then we just we chilled. That was like, must have been, again, like 4 or 5 years ago, probably 5 years ago. So like, from there, that's what I'm saying, it's not industry shit. It's not like I met this fool through my manager or something, you know? Like the people I meet through that, my manager, I mean, now my manager's this fool, so people I meet are the homies. But at that time, who was managing us, like, it wasn't, I don't give a fuck about those people. But, like, so it's all people, like, and that's the thing, Remy and World's Fair, I met them playing shows in the city, young, so it's like, though, that's not like industry friends at all, you know what I'm saying? So, but basically, my bad, Secret Circle, Antoine, me and him been working together for a minute, always been tight. And then he has always been tight with Ugly Man. He's known Ugly Man longer than me. Because they came up in the punk scene together. Like, they came up together, like, pre-rap. You know what I mean? So, that's what's tight. And then it's like, but it all made sense. And they knew I'm the rapper dude, but they know I understand. And I had, like, my little hardcore phase, and I understand. And the energy of that, I still kind of represent, you know? So, it all makes sense together. And Antoine's really, I'll give credit, he put it all together. He's like, yo, we got to do this. Like, Secret Circle, like, ill super, like, underground super group. You know what I mean? That's what it is. It's like it's like none of us are like overground, but it's all but it is kind of like a super group. It's like
because it's people that have cult followings.
It's like Antoine, Wiki, and then Ugly Man. And it's like Ugly Man obviously makes it like, you know, I know Twan Snow, you like, but Ugly Man the Don, and I'm so happy because of that, I got to actually become good friends with Ugly Man, and it's like someone I looked up to when I was younger because I was like listening to his tapes and shit. Yeah. But then it's like, he's just like such a nice dude, you know, like, and like to get to know him and him become like my brother too, you know what I mean? On this whole journey we're on is sick because it's like now we're just like us three are all just tight as fuck. Yeah. And it's like with Secret Circle, we got an album that we're working on. Like,
no way.
We're basically like, we're not basically done with it, but we got like 10 tracks on this shit done, and it's
so it's an EP.
Exactly. Nah. But we got some more tracks to do, but we did like a session out in LA. I went out to LA. Then we did a session back here. Like everything y'all have heard of Secret Circle so far, those are like the early tracks we just made kind of fucking around. Like none of them are like the most crazy secret. Like the Secret Circle, and a lot of people are like, where the Ugly Man? We got Ugly Man and Tony Seltzer collaborating on production on this shit, on this album. Like this shit gonna be crazy. Like, so it's like, cause we want like that, and that's Ugly Man's idea. He's like, yo, I got these things I want to give them to Tony, cause that's like kind of your side of thing, you know what I mean? Yeah. And just get everyone involved that's kind of within our little circle, you know what I mean? So it's like, the Secret, it's kind of one of those, it's like a Wu-Tang thing, it's bigger than just the Secret Circle, but it's like the three main members, you know, like Despot, he's like
in
associate, there. You know what I mean? But it's not, you kind of see me?
Like
so,
same way that there's like Wu-Tang affiliates and all that.
Exactly.
The Killer Bees,
it's like the affiliates, exactly. So it's like, so yeah, we got a lot. We have one more session we got to do, and then we'll be good. We got to just get all the skits and get everything cleaned up. But there's some crazy tracks on that album, like, and I would always say is like when I work with Secret Circle, it's like I love that shit, or just when I do features and shit. But really, Secret Circle, it's like I can just have fun with it. Like with my album, like it's like no mountains. Like I gotta like tell this story, like you know what I mean? It's like, and sometimes in that. But with Secret Circle, I'm just having fun, and then it's like I get into this concept. All right, this is the concept of the song, and I just write the verse, and it's like, damn. And because it's more fun and chill, the verses come out like so fire. You're like the verses I got on the Secret Circle shit are fucking fucked up. Like this is about to be crazy. Like I'm barring the fuck up on everything. Like whereas like on my album, I'm like, all right, now I gotta tell the story. I gotta simplify. On that shit, I'm just barring the fuck up like the whole time. I mean, not the whole time. We're all bringing ours to the table, you know. Yeah. Twan's killing the hooks, Twan's killing the like crazy verses, Ugly Man's killing the beats, Ugly Man's barring up as well.
Of course.
Me and Ugly Man, it's just like a good balance, you know what I'm saying? It's a good balance, but like the album's gonna be sick. And we got some experimental shit on there too, some weird shit.
Like the hour-long tracks, like the...
Not no hour-long track, but we got some crazy shit. You know, we gotta bring Ugly Man to our world. But that's the other thing that's good. Like we did a tour with them in Canada, and it's like Ugly Man was like, "Yo, this shit's sick!" Like, and he ain't never really toured like that.
Yeah, he doesn't really do that.
But then now it kind of like ignited him. He's like, "Bro, this shit was easy. Like we just made money. Like, why not?" And it's like, he could sell shit out because it's like.
I feel like people.
Toured before, you know?
People really like underrate how influential that whole like Mr. Thug isolation wave was.
Bro, he got a crazy cult following.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's insane.
But there's like stands in this office even, you know what I mean, that are just like, man, that was a really cool period where it was like, and now everybody wants to sound like 90s Memphis rappers, you know what I mean? Like there's
he did it before.
That's what I'm saying.
Before all that shit, bro. He did it before.
He had
all
like violins on the beats, and it sounded crazy. And like the down-tuned voice thing was like, that's all over.
It's dope though, because when he raps now, like live, he'll do the old songs just in his voice, like regular.
That's perfect. Because it's probably because he's got that
like,
hardcore thing.
But it's like I feel like he's fully like, all right, now like I'm in my own. You know, he moved out to LA too, so it's like he a LA motherfucker now, basically.
Yeah,
not really. I'm not trying to shit on it. I'm just saying like once you move to LA, it's like all right, now you're like in this weird world of LA, you know?
Yeah, I remember we
in
had
New York, you can just be regular and just do your thing. It's like in LA, it's like everyone's fake, kinda. You know what I mean? And not like everyone in LA, because there's like the outer parts of LA and there's certain neighborhoods in LA that are real. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like in the industry LA world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Are you like, bring it back to New York after LA, right?
Yeah.
Are you like an optimist or a pessimist when it comes to New York rap? Are you like we're killing shit right now, everybody's doing their thing, or is it more like a?
I'm more like I'm not. Because I get these questions all the time.
I know.
I've had to develop this answer, but it's like, to me, the way I look at it 2 ways. One, I look at it like, first of all, people think New York rap used to be like this and that's it. But that's not true. It's like Tribe Called Quest and Biggie were coming out around the same time. You know what I'm saying? Both that shit is New York, and both them shits are completely different. You see me? Not that they couldn't get on it, they couldn't collaborate on it, but I'm saying it's like there's different sides to New York. You know what I'm saying? So it could be, it's not like this is when people say, oh, what's the New York sound? Like, hip hop now. I'm like, there's different New York sound. There's not one New York sound, but with me, it's like, I look at it like, I'm not a pessimist, or I'm not like, oh, New York rap's the best thing ever. So I'm not an optimist, but I'm not a pessimist because I'm not like, oh, like New York rap sucks. Like, fuck it. The way I look at it is hip hop started in New York. So it's like, that's just a testament to the city. Like, it started in the Bronx from like, you know what I mean? From nothing. And it's like, look at where it's become. So it's like anything, hip hop anywhere, it's like, I'm still taking credit for that shit as a New Yorker. I don't give a fuck. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, it started there. So it's like, that just is a bigger testament to how ill something, this little thing from New York. And it's not one of those things where it's like, where did punk start? Did it start in New York? Did it start in the UK? Did it start in LA? Where did it start? No one disputes that. New York started in the Bronx. Everyone knows that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that alone, it's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm gonna keep making New York music, obviously, and New York hip hop, but it's like, I'm not stressing that because I know where the fuck it came from. You know what I mean? So it's like, if the biggest rappers from the West Coast, that's tight, whatever. It's like, y'all know where it came from. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would Kendrick say, like, back in, I don't even know, when he was like, oh, King of New York, and everyone was like, oh my God, he said I'm the King of New York. He's just like trying to test the waters, and it's like, he wouldn't say that if New York wasn't where it's at, you see me? Like, no New York rappers gonna be like, I'm the king of LA. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, why would I say that? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it's like, it started in New York, so that enough is a testament to the city, you know what I mean? So it's like, I just gotta keep up my end. Like, I gotta keep up all the people that are in my arm's reach, try to keep them on the right track, because it's like, that's all I got power over, you know what I'm saying? So,
sounds like you're more of a realist about it, if anything.
Yeah, there you go.
Keep it very real.
Yeah, because I'm not a pessimist. I'm not like, New York rap sucks, but it's just like, you see me, right? It's like, that's just a testament to how dope hip hop is and where it came from. It's like, if you go back and look at like old footage of that shit, or old, like an old documentary, you know, and then you see where that came from. It's like, bro, that's crazy. It's worldwide, y'all. It's bigger than everything. Literally. It's probably the biggest shit in the world. You think?
I think.
Maybe. But sports is influenced by hip hop. Motherfuckers do dabs and shit on the soccer field these days, bro.
It's true. That became like the most popular celebration for a whole year.
That's what I'm saying. So all I'm saying is, it's like, sports is big, but it's like, not everyone likes sports, everyone likes music though. And like hip hop, it's like, they do it everywhere, bro. Every continent, bro. From the tip of South America to the fucking Asia, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know, that's just like important, bro. And because it's bigger than music too. It's like culture.
Like you said, dude, it's like the community. It's the downtown group of people that'll like come together. Like, you had to recreate a sample because you couldn't get clearance for it, so you hit up all your homies to play an instrument.
Exactly.
And they have to come through and they have to help you do it.
Yeah,
and
that's
like probably the origin story, is literally like, yo, I can't afford instruments, but I have 2 records.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I mean, dude, usually we like try to end on a note where like Madrell was telling you earlier, we kind of like try to do this as sort of for young creatives or young artists, you know, people who are trying to get into this kind of line of work, this living, I guess, if you could call it that. What kind of advice, if you had to go back and like give 13-year-old Wick the word of the wise, like what would you give him?
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I was young, it was like, it's tough because if you're like an MC and just an MC, like I don't know how to, I wasn't like making beats and shit and this whole like, so it's like you kind of gotta find the right people to get around you, you know what I'm saying? That's important too. Like, you gotta hone your own skills, but you also gotta go out, you gotta hit the streets. Like, you can't, this is my advice, because this is the way I can.
Go for it.
It's like, you can't, I mean, like, you can just sit behind a computer and make your whole thing off the internet, but it's like, my biggest thing of advice is like, go out into the streets and like try to get it on some type of ground level and like, you know what I mean? Like meet people and work with people and shit. Because, and it's like all you gotta do is like just be a kind of cool, like a chill motherfucker, or like a weird motherfucker, or anything. Just go out. If you like, you know what I mean, talk to someone, then they're gonna react, you know what I mean? And I just feel like it's good to like get on that ground level and like build it up from there, because it's like, especially if you're in New York, I'm just talking in New York case, man. Nah, like, but anywhere you're from, it's like, I don't know, it's hard, like, cause you gotta figure your shit out, but it's just like, I don't know, just fucking work, bro. I don't know what the fuck, my bad, I fucked up.
No, that's solid advice.
No, it's definitely good.
Yeah, and one last question, you gonna run for mayor?
Nah, man, I can't, I quit the mayor campaign, bro. I'm off that. My next album gonna be some like, dark shit. I'm gonna be like, fuck everyone. Nah, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I need to figure this shit out. You know when you drop a project and you're just like over it. But I don't know, with the kids, it's like, yeah, try to, you know what I mean? Like, don't just sit behind the fucking, like, you know what I mean?
Get out there. Basically.
Get out there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's most important, I think.
Perfect.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for finding some time, bro. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for talking about it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The album's
thanks for dropping
great.
by, definitely.
Nah, dude, it was mad fun. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man. Go through anytime.